I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved or argued with, according to the margin. This is how the Lord answers that question. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. This is speaking of the visions of Daniel and John, of course. They're going to be made plain upon tables so that the people can digest it and run with it and share it. Verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. This is a message in relation to time. But at the end it shall speak and not lie. This is a doctrinally sound message. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. It sounds almost contradictory, but this is what it's basically saying. Though it tarry, beyond the apparent termination of the prophetic periods, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Remember, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and not lie. The charts, this is the 1843 chart. It was produced by Charles Fitch, Apollos Hale, and J.B. Himes. It was the fulfillment of Bible prophecy. This is what Habakkuk was seeing, and it would speak and not lie. I just want to emphasize that point. This chart is true. There's figures on this chart. We're going to look at that. Early writings, page 74. I have seen that the 1843 chart was directed by the hand of the Lord, and that it should not be altered, that the figures were as he wanted them. So God directed the chart, that the figures should not be altered, that he wants them there. God directed the chart and he saw that it was good. Don't change the figures. Now, James White is going to share a quote that was written in the same year concerning the same subject. It gives us another bearing. No one will deny the fact that it was the proclamation of the time, 1843, as it was written on the chart, that aroused the Advent people to look for the Lord. Let's break this down. It's unanimous. Nobody will deny that it was the proclamation of time, the judgment hour cry. Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. A message in relation to time. It was the preaching of definite time. It was the year 1843. Which is actually the Jewish year of 1843, which begins on March 21st, 1843, according to the vernal equinox, and stretches down to March 21st, 1844. So it actually encompassed a portion of the year 1844, and that Jewish year 1843 was written on the chart. It was this message that aroused the Advent people to look for the Lord. If that alarm had not been given, none would have been waked up to see the true light, as those who rejoice in the blessed hope would now doubtless. Let me read that again. If that alarm had not been given, which alarm? The proclamation of time, as written on the chart, none would have waked up to see the true light, and those who rejoice in the blessed hope would now doubtless be covered up in the mist and the darkness of the nominal church. Let's break this portion of the quote down. Nominal church, another name for that, is a fallen church. Why would they be in fallen churches? Well, the first angel's message is the hour of his judgment has come. It's a message in relation to time. And when the churches began to reject that message, God gives another message. Another angel shows up in Revelation 14, and it pronounces that Babylon is fallen, is fallen. So those that rejected this message, as it was written on the chart, that message that aroused the people, ended up becoming the nominal church. We cannot, therefore, see the least consistency in the position of those who call themselves Adventists, and at the same time call the very means that has brought them to the scriptural faith and hope a mistake, fanaticism, mesmerism, and, as some have said, of the devil. So if you reject this doctrine as it's found on the chart, as inspiration has testified to its truthfulness, do not call yourself an Adventist, according to the founder of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Now, this is another quote that was written around the same time. It's going to make these things even more forcible, of which we are already speaking. I saw that the truth should be made plain upon tables. That's it back in chapter 2. That the earth and the fullness thereof is the Lord's, and that necessary means should not be spared to make it plain. This is a powerful statement. This is being addressed to a flock of Christians who are already very poor. They already put all their means in 1844 to the work. They sold their houses, they sold their farms, they emptied out their savings, and they put everything in, and they're struggling. Yet the Lord is telling them that the earth and the fullness is mine, and have faith, have confidence, put the little bit that you have, add, and I will multiply onto that. I saw that the old chart was directed by the Lord, and that not a figure of it should be altered except by inspiration. Now we have a very interesting caveat here. We didn't have this little extra bit of information in the first quote. In the first quote, it said that the chart was directed by the Lord. The figures were as he wanted them. It should not be altered. But there wasn't this little phrase, except by inspiration. Well, what does that mean exactly? Let's finish the quote. I saw that the figures of the chart were as God would have them, and that his hand was over and hid a mistake singular in some of the figures plural, so that none should see it till his hand was removed. Again, there was a mistake singular in some of the figures plural, so that none should see it till his hand was removed. I want you to keep that in mind. We're going to go to another slide now, where these things will be explained. We have both charts now, side by side. An 1843 chart, the old chart, which was directed by the hand of the Lord, and the 1850 chart. Now we know that the figures were as God wanted them, and they should not be altered. But now we have a second quote that says, except by inspiration. Why? There's a mistake singular in the figures plural. So we have multiple figures plural here. We do have a mistake singular, and it's the Jewish year 1843. Now let's go back to Habakkuk chapter 2, which says that the vision would speak and not lie. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry. See, originally, before the great disappointment, there was a first disappointment. The prophetic period seemed to point down to the spring of 1844, and when that time came, it produced a tarrying time, as we see in Habakkuk, and also the parable of Matthew 25 prophesied of this event. But we're supposed to wait for it. Why should we wait for it? Because we've already been told that it would not lie. Because it will surely come, it will not tarry. These prophetic periods will terminate at the appointed time which God has designed, but those prophetic periods then must be true. It was only the singular mistake, the Jewish year of 1843, that was placed there in God's providence, because he would need to test a people. He would need to produce a tarrying time. We see that all the figures on the 1843 chart were brought over to the 1850 chart. That both tables of Habakkuk have the same doctrine. The first angel's message was reestablished on the 1850 chart. Inspiration dictated twice. In the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. Dictated twice that these things are so, that the vision would not lie. And what do you have? I don't know if you can see my cursor right now, but what do you have in the middle of the 1850 chart is the year is 1844. This is to the autumn of 1844. That is when the prophetic periods were to stretch there. To remove these prophetic periods, whether it be the 2520 or the 1335 or the 1290, is to fight against the message in relation to time, the first angel's message, a message which was ordered by God. And he even warned us that this vision, that this message was true. Why would he do that? Because doubt and confusion would come in concerning whether or not these things were true once they met their bitter disappointment on October 22nd, 1844. We'll stop there. I thank everybody for tuning in. May the Lord bless you.